YAGM, you ready? Yes? Okay. So thank you all for joining in with us today. My name is Pastor Kristen Engstrom, and I am the coordinator of the YAGM Senegal program. Soon you'll get to hear from those YAGM, but I wanted to introduce us a little bit and what this program is, because I don't know if all of you even know what YAGM is. Before I sort of go to that, just want to share the theme we're going to talk about. As you know, it's Holy Saturday today, which is a day of waiting. Jesus died and was buried yesterday, and today we wait and hope for the resurrection. And so we wanted to share some stories and songs of living into the waiting from Senegal. So hopefully you'll pick up those streams, those threads as it goes through. But just to tell you what YAGM means is, YAGM actually means Young Adults in Global Mission. And it's a program of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, the ELCA, where young adults get to spend 1 year living and serving with our ELCA companions around the world. So this is the YAGM Senegal crew. Here you can see some of those YAGM, if our slideshow is working, I hope. And then I also don't assume that you have a clue where Senegal is. Some of you may know. So here, hopefully you can see Senegal is on the continent of Africa, and it's the furthest Western country. It's actually really close to the United States, the furthest Western country in West Africa. And then here we have the map of Senegal. And so I'm going to turn it over to our young adults to take away the presentation. They're going to each introduce themselves and share where it is that they served in Senegal. So YAGM, unmute yourselves and then to share your name and where you served.
My name is Connor Haran. I'm from Boulder, Colorado, and I was placed in Dakar, Senegal, in a suburb called Yembel. And I served with a microfinancing bank there called Volante Credit Union, and it's a part of this greater Lutheran organization called SLDS, which is Lutheran Development Services for Senegal. And yeah, that's kind of a little overview of what I did.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Ziegelmeyer, or as I went by in Senegal, Nde Mariam Jai, and I too served in Yembel, in a suburb of Dakar, where I worked with the community center of SLDS, and also in the Complexe Scolaire Non-Andreal, which is a part of SLDS as a school, and that is where I served.
Nice. I am Sarah Weaver. I live in Flower Mound, Texas, and I lived in Senegal in Fatigue, and I worked in the Lutheran Church of Senegal in the music and liturgy department and also the accounting department.
Hello, everyone. My name is Charlie Williams. I'm currently in California. In Senegal, I served in Foundiougne with the Department of Community Development that was a part of the church, working on a project for food security. Oh, and my Senegalese name was Aiden Jai. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Hi, I'm Collins Pritchett. I'm currently in North Carolina, but I was placed in the city of Linguère, the beautiful city of Linguère, where I worked at Fernanda Jollof Laitery and Dairy Farm, as well as École Aimée, where I was an English teacher. So as some of you know, we had to return home a few months earlier than we had initially planned due to COVID-19. This unprecedented process has been difficult for all YAGM, but we are so thankful to be a part of this loving project and share with all of you stories and experiences about this country that we have come to love so much. Our hearts are still heavy and our minds still searching for answers. We also sharing some of that vulnerability with you today, so thank you so much for your support and time.
All right. For a portion of this presentation, for my portion, we'll be doing a small art project. So if you can grab a piece of paper and draw a cross on it like this, and then grab a box of crayons or markers or anything that you have lying around the house that you can use to color with, go ahead and grab that and then hold on to it until my part of our little presentation comes up. Thank you.
And that kind of takes it off to me. So welcome. My name is Connor once again, and I went by Ousmane Niang in Senegal. That was a name that my host family gave me. And today, just going to do a little kind of cooking rundown as far as what cuisine in Senegal kind of looks like. If my camera is at the right angle here, you'll notice kind of a bunch of ingredients prepped here. And what I'll be making today is a dish called chicken yassa, and or Yassa Ginnar as in Wolof. And it's a dish that I commonly ate for usually dinners, and it's honestly an awesome dish. It's an onion-based sauce, usually then with skin-on chicken and fried up in a pan, and with lots of kind of flavorful kind of bouillon to it, and other little hints of lemon and pepper as well. So yeah, it should be a good time. I'll be doing that throughout the next hour or so, and we'll be checking in back on me as I kind of get this dish going and hopefully don't burn down my kitchen. And kind of to go into a story as far as how culinary stuff went there. While I was getting used to the meals there, it definitely was very, very new. It was a big transition for me, and I'm the kind of person that likes eating what I want to eat, but kind of there I was supposed to just sit back and eat what was served to me. And in kind of the theme of waiting, I was always waiting for the next meal that I wanted from a standpoint of just difference, because things kind of got a little bit monotonous. However, as I kind of developed and my life kind of grew there in Senegal, I started to learn how to relish in that waiting and kind of relish in enjoying the little things within meals that I constantly had, whether that was Yassa Ginnar or some of these other dishes that are on the screen in front of you. And with that, these are some of our favorites that our whole crew kind of loves. And I'd like to invite everybody to kind of speak on what their respective favorite is.
I'll go first. My favorite meal was chibujen, which is rice and fish. And there are two different types of chibujen that people can have, which is chibuwech and chibuhonk. So it's either red fish or white fish. And I just always really enjoyed my meals, especially on Sundays when my mom would cook. It was always a great time for the family to come around the bowl and just to share a meal together. So that was my favorite meal, chibujen.
I can go because I also really like Chebujen. That was one of my favorites. Or in Serer, because Chebujen is Wolof, so in Serer it's Malo Folip, which is what we called it. And then I also really enjoyed salad, or salat as it is in French or whatever language. I think it's on the previous slide, but it's yeah, right there. It's on the right. So that's salad yassa. So it has like onions and French fries and lettuce and vegetables and stuff like that. And usually you have like a piece of bread and you put all the stuff in your piece of bread and you kind of make like a sandwich, or you can like scoop it up with your bread. And this is usually a meal my family would at least have on like special occasions like birthdays or holidays and stuff like that. So that was like a fancy meal.
My favorite was the chakri lach, which is right there in the center of the image. It's just porridge, nothing super special, but it always seemed to be like exactly what I needed in the moment. So that was one of my favorites.
My favorite was Chebu Ginnar. Something I always said that was a running joke throughout my year was Ginnar Moy Samahari, or chicken is my friend. So that was one of my favorites as well.
And my favorite is nambe, which is on the left hand of your screen right there. It's basically black-eyed peas, or what in Wolof is nyebe, but it is my favorite.
Thanks for sharing, guys. And for my personal favorite, going with the dish that I'm prepping here, that was Yassa Ginnar. So yeah, lots of really awesome flavors and options there. And yeah, thoroughly came to love Senegalese cuisine, and I'm hoping to kind of add it into my repertoire throughout the rest of my cooking career, so to speak. So as I said earlier, we got all these ingredients here, and I will be kind of getting going on prepping this stuff, and we'll check back in with me here in a few minutes and see how it's coming along. So thank you, guys.
That's me. Okay, so I am going to be sharing some Serer words and phrases that I used every day. Also, my name in Senegal or in Serer is Daba Ndour. It's the name that my family gave me and the name that I went by in Senegal. So a big part of my YAGM year was like forming relationships, and it's kind of hard to do that when you don't speak the same language. You can still do it, but learning the language helps even more to form those relationships and really show the people that who speak the other language that you really care about forming those relationships. So I have this Bible verse here underneath the pictures. It says, "Dear friends, since God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God lives in us and God's love is made complete in us." So a lot of the times experience God through relationships and through other people. And a lot of that, that waiting time, again, throughout my whole year, waiting till I learned the language, waiting until I, like for the bus even, and I'm just talking to people, or waiting for my family and just talking to people, and in Serer as well. So we can move on to the next slide and get started with our little language learning. So these are greetings, and I use these every single day. So in the morning, I say Mbaldo, which is like good morning. Fede jam, did you spend the night in peace? So every morning when I wake up, I say that to everybody I see. And then for good afternoon, you have Njoko. And then have you spent the day in peace is Yonga jam. And then Ngoropo, good evening. And Yare jam, have you spent the afternoon in peace? So jam is a big word in Serer and also in Wolof. And I think you'll probably hear that a lot. Did you spend the day in peace? Do you have peace? All of that stuff. Now we can go to the next one. Okay, so before we do this, in this picture, this is my first Serer tutor. His name is Thomas. I had him when we were in Dakar for orientation before we went to our host sites. So the first day of class, he made me write down what you see here and memorize it, because I use this every single day of my life in Senegal. So Namfio, how are you? Mehemen, I'm good. Jamsom Jago, do you have peace? Jamsom, only peace. Tambina, how is your family? Awama, they are good. Ba Lengjire, I hope no one is sick. Ha Lengjire, no one is sick. Namchelke, how is your work? Oe Nadia, it's going well. And then you can continue the conversation or part ways, whatever. But I feel like a lot of the time in English, we're just like, hi, how are you? I'm good, okay, bye. And that's it. But in Senegal and in the Serer language, we go through like this whole list of things. And I know you do this in Wolof as well. And it's really important to ask about all of these things. And next we have saying goodbye, but it's not really goodbye. So in Serer and in Wolof, you don't actually say like goodbye, you say until the next time, which is bojaf lakas. And then you can also say bo oyar, until the afternoon, bo ofet, until tomorrow, and bon diki, see you soon. But it's never just goodbye forever. And bojaf lakas was the thing I said the most whenever I left Senegal, because one, there is no word for saying goodbye, but also it kind of gives hope that you will return in the future and that you will continue those relationships. And in this picture, I have Leopold. He is my Serer tutor in Fatik, and I spent like most of my year studying with him as well. And then next to him is also my friend Oren from France, and she was here as well and studying with me. And next. Introductions. So kind of going along the lines of like relationships, meeting people, and waiting. Whenever I would meet new people and I would like go and travel or just see a new person, we would go through these also to get to know each other. So you have Namne'e, what's your name? Daba Ne'em, Daba is my name, or my name is Daba. Mam Gino, where do you live? Juar Ganum, I live in Juar. Juar was the neighborhood I lived in Fatik. Mam Inoru, where are you from? Amerik Inorum, I'm from America. Mam Jalo, where do you work? Église Luthérienne du Sénégal, Jaloum. I work at the Lutheran Church of Senegal. And this picture is the people that I met when I was teaching songs in Ndour to one of the parishes there. I'm there with my supervisor, Nicola. He's next to me, to the left of me. And we went around to some of the different parishes and taught some of the new songs, which is really fun. And we can go to the next slide. Conversation topics. These are things I just use on a daily basis or things I enjoy talking about. So you have my favorite, do you want to eat couscous? Baga unyam saj. So couscous is like the Serer food. Like if you ask someone like, do you want to eat couscous? You are, or baga unyam saj, you are basically asking like, do you know Serer? Like, can you converse with me in Serer? So if you say like, I bugam unyam saj, yes, I eat couscous. And then they're like, oh my gosh, yay, she speaks Serer, so cool. And next is Kasumahae. It's hot today. It's usually hot, so people say that a lot. Hajawo, what are you cooking? And then Harokene no Serer. What is this in Serer? How do you say this in Serer? And then this was a picture of my host siblings and some of their friends. That was actually the first day that I went to my host site, which is really cool. And yeah, that's basically it. I use these conversations on a daily basis, and it was really, really awesome getting to learn and form these relationships through learning Serer as well. I think I have another slide, or is that it? No, okay, we're going to sing a song. So another big part of my year was singing songs. So this is one that I learned. At first, I'm going to speak the Serer so that you all can hear it, and then we will sing first verse of Blessed Assurance, and then the next time we sing Blessed Assurance, it will be in Serer with Bilsatku le Hawina Yammi. Okay, like that. And we can go on to the next one. Okay, so let me get my song pulled up here. So I'll just speak the Serer and then we'll go ahead and start singing. So, Bilsatku le Hawina Yammi. Tok atech ale gari memi. Anda kesel es gari mutlam. Ga'a ye kam hes gari jufgam. Bilsatku le hawena yami. Tok atech ale gari memi. Bilsatku le hawena yami. Tok atech ale gari memi. And there you go. And now we can sing. Let me grab my guitar. My pick is under here. All right, we're good. We have 4. Jesus is one. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine. Heir of salvation, purchase of God. Born of His Spirit, washed in His blood. This is my story. This is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. And now we'll try in Serer. Bilsatku le hawina yami. Tok atech ale gari memi. Anda kesel thank you all. I hope you enjoyed learning Serer and singing in Serer. Goodbye.
And we are back with Cooking with Connor, or Togu Ak Usman, as they say in Wolof. So we've got the chicken kind of going on here. It's coming along here, 5 minutes each side on that. And just want to give you guys a little rundown of the ingredients here. I flashed a link earlier to africanbites.com. I'll be sure to pop that up in the chat. And all you have to do is look up chicken Yassa, and it will be the first recipe that comes up with that search function. And kind of give you an overview of what we got working on here. So like I said, it's an onion sauce base. So we have tons of onion here. It's a lot of onion, but it's not overpowering.
Connor, I did put the recipe in the chat, so people have it if they want to follow along.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, so yeah, if you guys want to open that up, go right ahead. And also other ingredients here, we have 4 minced garlic cloves, just for flavor. And lemon is kind of used as this accentuating zest flavor, really gets the dish this citrusy vibe to it. Senegalese love their lemons. As far as pepper, traditionally, I believe it is called a Scotch bonnet pepper, but we don't have a ton of those in the US. They're kind of hard to find except in specialty stores. So I just use habanero. That's totally fine. Still does the same trick. Senegalese food traditionally isn't super spicy, but it's good to add a little bit of a kick to it and just kind of bring out that flavor. And then we also have some chicken stock here. That's just an additional sauce base to go with those onions. And then Grey Poupon, here's kind of the French influence going on here. I would eat Dijon mustard with just about everything. It was kind of weird what I was eating Dijon mustard with, but it was awesome, and really enjoy kind of this interesting French infusion to Senegalese cuisine. And then we also have bouillon cubes. This is also another kind of French infusion and something that is an absolute must within Senegalese cooking. All over the place, it's this brand called Maji in Senegal, and you literally cannot cook a dish without it. It seems you will always be using bouillon cubes. So really bringing out that flavor. And there they actually pack them with a lot more spices and other things of that nature that really kind of bring out flavor for the dish. So it is kind of this ultimate go-to easy spice for any Senegalese dish. And then we also have 1 or 2 bay leaves for flavoring. This is kind of just a little garnish on top, and to be able to bring out kind of additional flavors. So that's a rundown of our ingredients. We're going to keep going. I'm working with my wonderful mother to get this dish prepped, and yeah, keep it along here. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Jeff. I first want to start off by saying Salam alaikum. And then normally what people would say after that is Malaikum salam. Just kind of like everyday greeting that many people use in Senegal. And like it says on the slide, my name is Zig. I go by Zig, and my Senegalese name was Ndour. And today I'm going to talk about interfaith and how it was, kind of the core of my experience in terms of really understanding why I, was sent there and living in Senegal. So I'll first define what interfaith is, and then I'll go through the pictures, and then I'll kind of explain my perspective on interfaith. So interfaith is how people who orient around religion differently interact with one another, and the implication of these interactions for communities, civil society, and global politics. And then In the next slide, I'm going to just quickly explain and during our first weeks of orientation, Pastor Kristen was really good about getting us into that interfaith life. And so we actually got to go to a mosque in Dakar, and we were able to have a conversation and sit down and listen with an imam, which is kind of like the pastor of the mosque. And that experience was really influential for me because I think it really honed in on the idea that we were going to be living in communities that looked much different than what we may be living in America. And part of that difference is faith and the fact that as Christians and as Lutherans, we need to understand our brothers and sisters living in Senegal. So the fact that, you know, being a Muslim and practicing Islam was going to be a part of our everyday routine was something that we were going to have to get used to, and we were going to have to learn how to love and appreciate this beautiful religion. And in the next slide, these are photos of kind of gatherings of faith, and the top left-hand part of the screen is a wedding that we went to. It was for Pascal, who was the General Secretary of the Lutheran Church of Senegal. And this was kind of a huge step in the direction of understanding what it means to be a Lutheran in Senegal, and how celebrations are similar yet different through their religion, through our religion of Lutheranism. And in the center of the screen is a picture of a wedding, and weddings are really big and they happen outside, and there's a lot of just sitting and waiting, kind of like in Holy Saturday. And you're waiting for food, you're waiting for the bride to show up, and I really just like that there's not a whole lot of, it depends on where you go, but weddings aren't usually like, because there is a lot of waiting, there's not a lot of like spectacle, and there can be, but I like the fact that you're just having a conversation with people waiting for this event, and it's through those conversations that you're able to, you know, share life and break bread with one another. And then in the right corner is my mom, my host mom, Churro. I always loved getting photos of her from behind, because in terms of like her wardrobe was just so like beautiful in my opinion, and it was something that I just really adored about part of the culture of Senegal, is that whole, you know, the tissue and all of that fun stuff. And then in the bottom is a picture of me again at the wedding with some of my friends. And then in the bottom right hand corner is a baptism that my family had, and my host family was Muslim, so that was always really cool to like understand that, like, oh, like they have baptisms too, and what does that look like? It's just another celebration of life and the naming ceremony and things like that. And then the last slide is kind of where I'm going to start kind of my spiel. And the last day before I left on Wednesday 3 weeks ago, I went to my church, which was a classroom, and I returned this book called God is One, which is a book about Islam and interfaith relationships. And it was actually a book that really helped me understand Islam more, especially in a Christian viewpoint, and how truly similar we are. And what I loved about our little classroom is that there was just this little tiny cross, but which I took a picture, which is on the left side of your screen. And that was kind of the only way that you could really identify that this was a church on Sunday mornings, was this tiny cross on the wall. But I think that tiny cross is really important, because I don't think it matters where you have church, but just that you're coming together and that you're celebrating God and your relationship with God. So now I'm going to go into my spiel. Okay. Coming to Senegal, I knew that the country was composed of 95% Muslim. Now, as a Christian living in a predominantly Christian society in America, one might read that number and become scared. Scared of the unknown, scared of persecution, scared of living into your Christian identity. And for me personally, I took this number as a way to understand my Muslim brothers and sisters. And in my life, I've had limited interaction with Muslims. However, I have had many opportunities to discuss peacefully and constructively with my friends about our faith in an American context. However, living in Senegal, with a majority of my friends, colleagues, and family being Muslim, I knew that we would be experiencing a beautiful exchange of ideas and faith. One of the biggest things I took away from my community and my family is that Islam is love, and that to follow Islam, you have to love your God. But in order to do this correctly and with everything you have, you must surrender, submit, and commit, and have commitment and peace. And Islam means those words, to surrender. So to surrender oneself to God. And all in all, to be a Muslim, you have to have peace and be willing to follow the word of God or the Quran. Now, this frame of religion, of following one God, praying to God, surrendering oneself, sounds awfully similar to Christianity. And we believe in one God, and through following Christ, we become disciples of the doctrine. Living as a Christian in a majority Muslim community, I looked at this opportunity for me to delve deeper into my faith and have a better understanding of Islam. Ways that I was able to share my Christian faith were in the little details. When I would talk with my supervisor, Dom, and we would discuss the differences between the Prophet Muhammad and Jesus, the Son of God. Each interaction of ideas brought me closer to my faith and a level of interest and respect for Islam. I never really understood how closely both religions were connected, but understanding the 5 pillars allowed me to get a sense of what it means to be a Muslim. It was through the 5 pillars that I was able to begin to ask my colleagues and family what being a Muslim meant to them and why their faith was important, and why that faith was able to, be the bloodline of the day, or to support that day and be the heartbeat. And so the 5 pillars consist of the Shahada, which is sincerely reciting the Muslim professions of faith; Salat, which is performing ritual prayers in the proper way 5 times a day; Zakat, paying an alms or charity tax to benefit the poor and the needy; and Swam, fasting during the month of Ramadan; and the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca. All these pillars, comprise of what it means to be a Muslim. But the pillar that resonated with me the most was Salat, which is the act of prayer. For me, prayer is something that I struggle with as an individual. It is the hardest thing for me to do because it requires a time where I have to sit and be still. And that is really hard for me. It is a time where I have to be honest with myself and with the people that I form relationships with. It is also a space where I feel self-conscious about my faith, especially as an American. I often find that public prayer is seen sometimes in the context of America as an extreme form of showing your religious affiliation. And prayer is an action that people dismiss in schools and in public places. Yet we have this freedom to have religion. But to subjugate anyone to a form of public prayer can be seen as trying to evangelize or being disrespectful in certain social circumstances. So in my life, I've only really ever performed prayer in church settings or church functions, or, in the solace of my own room. But there was one time where I was able to perform public prayer, and it happened to be in an airport with people I had only met 5 minutes before. But it was one of the most uncomfortable experiences in my life, yet solidifying in terms of letting go of my own stigmas of what it means to publicly pray and letting God do their work. But in Senegal, public prayer and acts of faith is something that I had to get used to in terms of this is happening and we are praying right now. And faith is ingrained in the everyday activities. And it is through this outward faith that people come together. And honestly, it didn't bother me in terms of daily life being a Christian and people being Muslim. Rather, it was something that became a normal part of my life, and a part that I appreciated. It was how I was able to know what time of day it was. At 5 o'clock, I was getting awoken by the call to prayer, and that was how I was starting my day. But I think this natural and scheduled daily prayer is why I love Senegal, and faith is the foremost important thing to most people. Yes, people have their families and their jobs, but at the end of the day, faith is what carries many relationships and social structures. Being able to proudly pray in public, in my eyes, is a vulnerable act, shows how comfortable people are in their faith. My communities and my host family made me have to stretch my understanding of what prayer was and how I reacted to public prayer. Public prayer became a time where I myself prayed or questioned my faith and what I believed. There are many times when I would be in the middle of a conversation and someone would say, "Oh, I have to go pray." And that was really daunting for me at times, because I was like, "Oh, like prayer is happening." And it was through this like silence of sitting with myself where I was like, why aren't I praying? Why is my faith, in my faith, we only pray when we need to or as a congregation, but rarely do we focus on the idea of praying alone, as individuals. Whereas in Senegal, people greet the solidarity of praying alone. So a lot of times I felt myself lacking spiritually, which led me to discern what my relationship was with Christ and when I fall back on my faith while I was in Senegal. But what I realized is that I shouldn't have to fall back on my faith. Rather, I should be falling into my faith, just like my community was doing on a daily basis. Falling into God is something that I have been avoiding most of my adult life. And I have been, and I've been seeking God in ways that could fulfill me right away rather than seeking me out in a personal and lasting relationship through prayer. Prayer now seems like the most sacred way to speak with God and about my life and others. So, so I really loved this idea that interfaith really pushed me to understand what living with other religious affiliations means, and how putting our differences aside and having a yearning to understand those who may be different than you actually comes at a benefit to you as an individual. And living in Senegal, I became a better Christian because of the people that surrounded me. So it was my Muslim brothers and sisters, my family, my colleagues who pushed me to stretch my faith and for me to, really understand what it means to be a Lutheran. And so with that, I am going to say goodbye. So Allah Wahid, which is God is one, and Yalla Bakhna, inshallah.
Hey everybody, assalamu alaikum. Nagadev, yangichi jam, yanginos, alhamdulillah. How are you? Are you in peace? Are you having fun? And thanks be to God. My name's Collins, or Ibrahim Abba, as I was known in Linguère. This slide shows a sun over where Linguère is located within the country. It's in the northeast. But today I'm going to walk you all through an average day in Linguère and share with you some Wolof as we go along. So actually, to start off, I want to share with you 3 words I use the most and can get you through pretty much any day your first couple of days in Senegal. So that being, wow. Wow means yes. You say it a lot, especially when you don't know what's going on. You say wow. Wow, yes. Very simple. Repeat after me. Wow. Yeah, there you go. Wow. All right. Tangana, or Tangana Jir, which is it's hot and the heat is difficult, especially in Linguère or in certain parts of Senegal. It can get really hot, and it's a very common conversation topic. People love to talk about the weather, love to talk about how hot it is. It's a good jumping off point. And then you can just answer that with wow, which is yes, it is. Then we have Jetta Jeff, which is thank you. So 3 very simple things. Danganazir, wow. Jetta Jeff, so it's hot. Yes, it is. Thank you. All right, so we're off and learning. But so I'll take you through an average day in Linguère for me. So in the morning, I wake up in this beautiful house that you see in the left-hand corner of the screen. And immediately after exiting my room, I fix and eat mburu and coffee, which is bread and coffee. For breakfast, or as you can see on the screen, ndeki. In the middle of the screen is my amazing, caring, and loving host family. And my family is Samawaka in Wolof. Samawaka was very important to me, caring, attentive, and always loved to just have genuine conversations and learn more about me, how I'm doing. And those morning times are really important, where we all sat together, ate breakfast, and spoke about our well-being, how we slept, and about our day ahead. To converse is waktan. So a lot of times I would be told to, sit and converse. So dogal waktan. So sit and converse with us, which is wherever you go and all the time. Okay, and the next slide. As soon as we're done speaking and eating breakfast, I would say merge or mengi to my host mother, Yai, and I would head off to work. That mengi was just an invitation to let them know that I am leaving and to kind of receive one more gift of peace and good wishes for the day ahead. So I would go to work or ligay at Fernando Jollof Latery, which is in the upper left. And I would work with Ibu. He's right below that. And we would cook and package which is a fermented sweet milk. You can see it in that picture behind the beignets, behind the donuts, as you can see. But I worked with a lot of milk, and we cooked a lot of milk. Fernando Jollof is a latery or creamery where we do those things. Also, in this slide, I pictured my friends, mentors, teachers, and pastor, and put a label next to them saying Samai Khadi, which is my friends. I had the opportunity every day to work, learn, and interact with friends that I will never forget, and was always excited and thankful to see. Whether that was someone teaching me Wolof and Racine, someone teaching me about faith and Christian faith in Senegal with Pastor Sen, whether that was somebody just goofing around and being a sai-sai, or somebody that goofs around in Kundu and Ibu and Samajuf, or just someone that I had a relationship with because I walked by them all the time with Abdu, we're leaning up against the car, or my guy, the Jai Cat at the boutique across the street from me. Everyone is just so incredible and amazing. So on the next slide, after Latery, I would often visit the church, which is pictured on the left. And Waktan and Julie, which is pray, with Pastor Sen before heading to school. I'm going to explain my job as I would to most people in Nigeria, okay? Mengi jungle kachi ekol eme por hale bundao. Nungi jung angle best bunek. Ak jungle wolof chimar. So I'm a teacher for Ecole MA for small children. They learn English every day and teach Wolof to me. Such a rewarding process and opportunity, teaching and learning from these wonderful people. After school, it was time for a Taya and Nopelu, a nice afternoon nap after Ein or lunch, where we sat around the bowl as a family and ate. Qigong, or in the evenings, I take a horse cart or watir to the farm, Fernando Jollof Dairy Farm. This is where the milk comes from that we turn into sow. I would work with these beautiful people on the lower left-hand corner, and we'd feed and milk cows together. They were so patient, so kind to someone that knew nothing about farming, nothing about milking cows, and it was always a great highlight of my experience in Senegal, and very proud of it. So after work would be the evenings, and on this next slide, I featured some of the main words that I would see in the evenings, most especially, but that I always really admired. Jam, which is peace, as Sarah talked about earlier. Nos, fun and enjoying yourself. A word that can't really be explained just by fun, but it's just a feeling of joy. And Talanga, hospitality, selflessness that everyone has and everyone shares with you. A night was a time where I was able to go and explore the town, meet new people, and really see these aspects really wherever I went. So right now, we came back very quickly to the US after this incredible experience. We had to say quick goodbyes to people that, you know, obviously we fell in love with. We fell in love with this place. We fell in love with this country. So just a quick little thing. I'm happier than I've ever been and in a better place than I've ever been in my adult life with my mental health. And I owe that to this experience and these people and this place I've attempted to share with you today. And I have a couple Bible verses that explain kind of how I'm feeling. Therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. Today's theme is waiting, and often I felt like I was waiting for the next thing, or waiting to go home, or waiting for what was next, instead of being in the moment with these people that I can sit here and tell you are genuinely the most incredible people I've met in my life. In Romans, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is acceptable and perfect. Accepting the person your experiences have made you, and putting faith in the grace that was given to the world through Christ. And this experience has taught me that, to be transformed, to be open to change, to be open to learning something new, whether that be a new language, a new way of culture, anything in your life, just open yourself up. And you may feel like you're waiting, but today is here and it's pretty beautiful. So, next we have a song in Wolof after we learned a little bit of Wolof. So I'm going to explain those lyrics. If we can go to the lyric page. Jesus keep me near the cross. Chisa wetu banpi. Yao Yesu Christ damabeg. Jege chi sa banpi. Ndachte fala much. Jinek ak banech bu duljech. Sabanpe mom leke samandam. Ba besba menopalu chasa ngur gu nechga. Sarah, our talented musician, is going to take it away.
Thanks, Collins. Yes, I don't speak Wolof, so thank you for pronouncing that. Great, so we're going to sing Jesus Keep Me Near the Cross, first verse in English, second verse in Wolof. So join us in singing. Jesus, keep me near the cross. There's a precious fountain, free to all a healing stream, flows from Calvary's mountain. In the cross, be my glory ever, till my ransomed soul shall find rest beyond the river. And now Wolof. Yao Yesu Christa mabek, Jege chi sabani, Nakte fala mutine, Akmane kudute, Sababe, Pomreke sabani. and we'll head over to Connor.
And welcome back. It's your boy, Cooking with Connor, Togu Ak Usman. Just wanted to give you a quick update as what we're looking at here. This is what our dishes are looking like. We got the lemon, the sauce is steaming, and rice is ready to go. So we will be plating this guy here shortly. Looking forward to it. We'll check back in soon.
Alrighty, hello everyone. My name is Charlie, or Ida Njai, as I was known in Senegal. Unfortunately, we don't have a ton of time, so I am just gonna take out that little art piece. However, I can add what I was going to do in the chat later if you're interested in being involved. So what I'm talking about today is kind of the YAGM experience, I think in general, and how it connects to this Easter season, this Easter story that we're all in. And you can see here on this slide, this is my family and some pictures from Foonjoon. So when I think about the Easter story, I kind of think of it in these three main chunks. There's the old life, living and existing with God, almost in this kind of status quo sense, and also living and anticipating what is going to be in the future. For example, this disciples knowing that things were going to be different when they were having the Last Supper with Jesus, but not knowing exactly what that change was going to look like. And then we move into the second chunk, which is this moment of great momentous change with the death of Jesus Christ, and then this waiting and grieving process and not really sure what's going to happen next after this. The disciples in this waiting period, not knowing what was going to happen. And then that third chunk, which would be Easter, the resurrection of Jesus and the joy and rebirth that is on Easter. And in many ways, I think YAGM connects to this story and this trajectory through the Easter season. It's a time of intense transformation among volunteers, much like myself. However, in each of our own lives, all of you watching, we may also experience this feeling of anticipation, waiting, and then joyous revival in that Easter time. So I think with that first chunk, YAGM, for me, I felt in my previous life, stuck in this kind of status quo of my faith, going to church, but not really feeling connected. But that made me want to apply to this YAGM program and wanting to engage in the world in a deeper way, calling by God to serve others and anticipating what that was going to look like in the global context. So that kind of first part of the Easter season. And then second, somewhere in that YAGM year or that YAGM experience in Senegal was a time of shock and then reflection, maybe many times of shock and something changing me in my normal life, knowing I was going through that intense transformation and then waiting to see how I was going to emerge from that confusion or experience someone changed. There were many small moments of this transformation, I believe, throughout my year. So confronting poverty and privilege in my context, living in ambiguity and learning a new language, slowly understanding more people, and then other things as well. But this waiting, I think, not knowing how these moments were going to impact me or change me until I came out of that Senegal year of service is something that I think connects to that middle part of the Easter story. And then we move into the next part of Easter and the promise of the resurrection of Jesus. And I think in many ways for myself and a lot of the other YAGM who are participating in this year, we're still in this kind of waiting sense in this area of grief of something that changed that we weren't ready for, and then waiting to see what we were going to come out of this other side of the experience as. However, that promise, there was many experiences throughout my YAGM year that I think did change me into a new person with joy about the work that's being done in the world, which represents kind of that Easter sense. And so stepping into that new life of the things that did change me into a new role and being able to live confidently and apply my faith in the new world, coming out on the other side of some of those experiences with new language, new skills, and a thirst to learn more about social justice and serving communities in need. I feel that sense of newness, that sense of joy that is represented in the Easter season. However, there's still parts of me and many of my friends who I know that are still in the unsureness phase and working through that and coming through this evacuation to learn how that is going to shape us in the future. So I think through all of these things coming together, the YAGM experience can kind of connect through this phase that we're walking through together in the Easter season, And so I hope that you can take the opportunity to reflect on your own experiences. Maybe you've had something like this where you have this sense of status quo, change, grief, maybe, and then coming out and seeing what happens on the other side of that. So I hope you can reflect on that in the Easter season too. And with that, I will turn it over to Pastor Kristen or possibly Connor, checking in on his cooking. Thank you so much.
I'm going to share just quickly because I know you all want to see what Connor's up to in the kitchen. So I'm Pastor Kristen, or Nogoy Juf, as my name is in Senegal. Just to quickly share, one of my biggest waiting with bated breath happens in Senegal right at the beginning of the year. You can see in this picture all these taxis pulling away. And after the YAGM arrive and then spend some weeks with me in Dakar, I send them away from me. All our host families come in, and then I send the YAGM and trust the YAGM to their new families in Senegal, and I have to stay behind in Dakar, where I live, and trust and hope that things will go okay, that they will become part of these new families, that their supervisors will take them in, that our sisters and brothers in Senegal will take care of these young adults and form them and shape them and look out for them. But I don't always know. And so I have this verse from Romans about in hope we were saved. But hope that is seen is not hope, for who hopes for what is seen? But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience. And likewise, the Spirit helps us in our weakness, for we do not know how to pray as we ought to, but the very Spirit intercedes with us with sighs too deep for words. And as the coordinator, trust in the Holy Spirit, trust in these young adults, trust in our Senegalese sisters and brothers and friends and colleagues, the pictures you see on the screen is what happens. Our amazing sisters and brothers in Senegal, our amazing God who has brought us all together, creates these relationships and changes these young adults. And it is an amazing process to see, but it involves waiting and it involves trusting in God, but it is an amazing process. So that is my waiting experience, just as we all wait together today. I'm going to get back to Connor, who will see if our chicken is done.
Yes, welcome back to Cooking with Connor. So as you can see here, wrapped up there, and this is our final product with the plating. So with this recipe, another thing I recommend you can do that is on that website is you can marinate the chicken overnight, and that definitely does bring out some additional flavors. However, I decided to cook this kind of more in the traditional sense of how my family would prepare it typically at a day in Yemble. And yeah, that is a Yassa chicken. I highly recommend it. There's plenty of other great recipes if you go on that African Bites website and kind of check out the whole plethora. And if for some reason you do have a like Senegalese restaurant near you or something like that, definitely go in and check it out sometime. I highly recommend it. It's honestly amazing cuisine, super healthy, and it's really a solid way to eat. So with that, yeah, thank you guys. Really appreciate taking the time. So thank you.
Connor, can you take a bite of that chicken for us?
Yes, can do. Get the pork out. There we go. Let's get the shot.
Sorry, Connor, I didn't know it'd be such a weird visual.
Oh, all good, all good. Doesn't change the flavor, that's for sure. Pretty amazing. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Connor. And now I think we have all of the YAGM are going to close it out with a blessing in all of our languages that we speak.
Yes, I'm like crying because of Connor's saying. That was amazing. Crying in a good way because I was laughing. Anyway, Jokanjal, Rogafaha, Rogafia Jam, Bojathaka. So thank you, everybody. God makes peace. God is good. And we will see you the next time. Again, there's no word for goodbye. It's only see you next time. So I say that to Senegal. I say that to everybody here. Thank you so much for joining us. Here's all of our thank yous in all the languages, all the God is goods, all the see you laters.
Nomonala samai khali chi Senegal sama hol moy dafa dis wante nit chi sama bop bis bu nek jërëjëf waay jam ak jam ba benen yoon. I miss you, Senegal. My heart is heavy, but everyone is on my mind every day. Thank you very much. Peace to you and to me. See you next time.
Amen, amen. So thank you all again. Merci beaucoup, Jarajaf Jokonjal Jaram, for listening and being part of this. And thank you for letting us share this with you.